Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday, and here to do the Bitcoin crypto analysis for today. I got a lot of cool stuff for y'all. I got some powerful, trading tools that I want to discuss. I also want to let me grab this link right here.
Stuff for y'all.
And
I got some.
Let me see. Let me just drop this here and drop it to my different communities that I'm a part of. Let's see. I don't know why my thumbnail didn't update, but it should have. So what I want to talk about today is what kind of tools do we use on a day-to-day basis? How do we, analyze the charts? How do we, decide where we want to trade, how we want to trade, when we want to get in and when we want to get out? And these are all things that are really not that hard to sort of follow. But the thing is, the human mind and the human greed really just takes over, and people often get overly greedy and want to essentially want to keep hanging on to a trade longer than it should be, or they want to get out too early. Okay, so let's sort of check it out and see what we got on price action. All right, so I want to talk about first Bitcoin. Okay, so we know that Bitcoin is the market leader, right? We know that it is the king of the market and it dictates the rest of the market. Whether you want to think and believe that there's other alts that are out there that are better or whatnot, I want to sort of put that to rest and say, hey, let's sort of follow the technicals and let's try to understand exactly what we're dealing with here. Okay, and one thing we obviously want to talk about is how do we chart, how do we read technical analysis, and how do we read it properly? Okay, how do we know that when a particular pattern has been invalidated, when to get in, when to get out, etc. Right? So these are all things that I want to talk about, and let's go through it together. Okay. So right now, price is currently at 4,130, and we sort of broke above some of the previous resistance levels. Like I said, way back here, we were looking at this flag, and I stated that one of the levels that we need to break is about 4,040, just to be safe. Okay, so once we broke that, we went all the way to the high of almost 4,130, and then came back down, basically retested that level, and then sort of moved away from it. And then yesterday we had this big shakeout candle before the next push again. So now we're essentially floating right in this middle of $4,100 area, and we're waiting for that next big push towards where these candles closed, okay, on the 4-hour. But one good thing is if you start looking at the higher time frames, okay, so let's sort of close this out right here. If we close this candle as is right now, okay, that's a $4,130 close from the bulls, which has not been done since essentially these bullish candles way back here in November. Okay, so basically about 3 or 4 months ago, because every time supply was hit right here, right? Let me pull up this chart right here because it's a little bit cleaner to read. Okay, so let's go on the daily right there. You could see that on the daily chart, right, you can see that this candle is now closing above this dashed black line, which is about 4,114. Okay, that was one of the big levels that I was really watching for, but clearly Bitcoin has far exceeded that, and now we're at 4,130. And having candles close above this area is a very positive sign. I think it's very bullish because I've seen this higher low being maintained, and we're not dropping and breaking structure too much. we're really just, you know, following this path consistently, this nice 45-degree angle, guys. And so, you know, we are looking pretty darn good in this case. Okay, so I want to sort of you know, make sure that we watch this play out, and essentially, you know, see if we can start poking up into the $4,400 level. All right. And things are actually going pretty well for Bitcoin, because it is consistently moving up with, you know, not a whole lot of resistance in the way to 4,400. So once we break out of 4,200, I have a pretty, you know, good inclination that we'll get to that $4,400 area pretty easily. Okay, I don't really foresee, you know, rejections from now until then. Okay, if we get to 4,400, that's where things start getting a little interesting, because that's where we had, you know, these big wicks right here reject us really hard when we try to climb back up in November. And then we got rejected, you know, pretty sharply. Okay, so so we're kind of looking for, you know, the break of 4,200 and then a nice easy climb up to 4,400. All right, let's check out some of the trades that, you know, we're watching right now. One being, you know, BAT. Okay, so here's the BAT trade that I've been watching for a little while now. You can see on the 1 hour I drew some of these, you know, fan trend lines. And again, if you don't understand some of the terminology, some of the fan trend lines, how that stuff works, go to cryptosomniac.com, go to products right here, and first definitely sign up for a Cryptosomniac Advantage. Okay, I can teach all of this. We also provide, you know, great trade setups. We provide, you know, all these trades right here. Okay, and I do daily Bitcoin analysis for my community every single day with multiple updates through the day. All right, guys. So go check that out, cryptosomniac.com, products, and get the Advantage program right there. Okay. But going back to the BAT trade. Okay, so here we are, right? You know, we actually took profits on BAT basically right at the top. All right, and after that we are essentially waiting for it to come down to that middle trend line, kind of like it did like these points right here. See the yellows right there? Okay, so I want to see a nice slow grind along the price of this middle trend line, or I want to see a nice slow grind along the bottom of this white trend line. Okay, and that's where I would feel a little bit more comfortable getting into a trade, because that creates a better risk reward you know, scenario, right? So remember, you know, your risk to reward is kind of like this. Okay, so if you start going over here, long position, right? Say you know, bought in right now. Okay, your potential target is right there. Your stop is probably at the bottom of this channel, right? So you could see that that's a terrible risk to reward ratio. That's 0.48. That means for a gain of 9%, potentially 9% at that, you're basically risking 19.14%, because that would be essentially your stop, or even, you know, way under this white channel right here, which would be basically, you know, a R of 1. So really not that great, right, guys? So we want to essentially trade with better R. So for example, if we did the same trade and we caught it, you know, say down here, okay, our target would be at the top of the channel right there, and our stop would be just under right there. So you could see that increases our R, which is the risk to reward ratio, greatly. Now our R becomes 6.68 versus, you know, the 0.48 or 1.0 that we had earlier. So this is why, you know, even if you love BAT or whatever coin that you're looking at, you want to look at the setup, really. Okay, that's all. If you really want to be a trader, you know, these are the things that you have to look at. You know, it's not about how high this can go, it's rather how low can you catch it and then ride the train up. Okay, here's some of the things that, you know, I value and weigh when I'm you know, doing technical analysis. And I wrote this up for my community last year. Again, you know, I've been part of this community for a good year plus. So, you know, I wrote down, you know, some rules and some tools and indicators that I use to, you know, analyze price action. And so here, first things first, what I like to do is, you know, look at raw price action, right? Multiple time frames. This is what we do every single day, guys. You know, I look at exactly what the price is, you know, and what kind of value it's giving me in terms of technical analysis, not just the price, because price does not give you the idea of value in terms of TA, right? Price just gives you a number. The number could be anything, you know. BAT could be a terrible trade at, you know, say 10 cents, right? But it could be a great trade at 50 cents, depending on how the technicals line up, right? So this is kind of how you have to weigh your technicals, okay? So first things first, you know, my primary sort of tools that I use is raw price action, okay? Next, after that, I like to use horizontal support lines or trend lines. So you can see all my horizontals right here, right? These are all horizontal trend lines. The way I weigh this is I start looking at, you know, where price action stops, moves, gains momentum, stops momentum, etc. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to, you know, sort of look at it. Okay, and then you start drawing, you know, trend lines kind of like this, right? So here's a nice, you know, sort of parallel channel. Here are some trend lines that price has been, you know, reacting to. And every time prices come to the bottom of the channel, it shoots up. When it comes to the middle channel, it moves up nicely too. But eventually price likes to, you know, come down to the bottom of the channel, rest a little bit, you know, sort of reload on ammo, and then shoot back up again. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for one more time, right? I just want to catch price at a better technical advantage and catch it at the bottom of the channel, and then ride the train back up again. Okay, even if that means, you know, I pay higher than what I got out at. It's not about, again, it's not about the price itself, because the value the value of technicals is solely in how you analyze the charts. The price has nothing to do with it. Okay. Next thing is candlestick patterns, right? So when we start looking at candlestick patterns, it's something like this, right? You could start looking at you know, say for example, you know, these are potentially 3 white soldier candles, which are, you know, bullish reversal candles. This could potentially be a gravestone doji, meaning that it has a very flat, small body and a huge wick up top. And if the next candle becomes a big bearish candle, that means this is a confirmed bearstone doji or a gravestone doji, and you know, you could have more downside ahead. Okay. The next thing I look at is, let's see, you know, patterns with price action, right? So for example, falling wedges, diamond bottoms, symmetrical triangles, etc., right? So over here we had spotted a little bull flag way back here, and I mentioned it to my community. So, you know, we started buying into this flag and doubling down. And once it broke out, boom, we just took off, right? It was literally a matter of less than 24 hours. We made about 30%, right? So once this kind of took off, we sold off basically at the top, and we started using our Fibonacci levels of, you know, okay, well, where do we need to sort of get out of our trade? And so the way you weigh that is you could go here, grab your fib retracement tool, right? So the top, you gather the top from right here, you get the bottom right there, okay? And then you sort of go to your settings, you just add the 1.618 and 2.618, okay? Right there. And you can now see that from the top of this down move right here, you can see that 1.618 was hit as our first target, and the final target was literally on the money, guys. 0.308, and we got out, you know, some of us got out right near the top, okay? So this is how you sort of, you know, weigh your technical analysis and see if a trade is valuable in terms of TA, not just with price, okay? So as much as I love BAT, I am more than happy, you know, to let this trade go, and I don't care, you know, how many times it keeps hitting the top of the channel. I want it to come down to the middle or the bottom of the channel, and then I'll ride it back up. Okay, so the other trade that we're in is Ethereum. Okay, so ETH we got in just this morning. We averaged in 141 and 142, so we're just about break even right now. And you know, Bitcoin I know is still grinding through resistance, so I know for sure that Ethereum is going to move up nicely with it. Okay, and another reason why I like Ether as of late is because I did this, you know, analysis for my community this morning, and all you do is if you grab this, you know, price range tool, right, and you grab the bottom of this wick right here, and you grab where, you know, price action is currently, right, so that's about 7.5 5% move right now. Okay, so over the last 6 or 7 days, Ethereum is up 7.5%. Okay, let's see how much LTC is up. Okay, so again, I grab that tool right there, and you grab the bottom of the wick right there, and you grab the price right now. It's about 5.2, right? Let's grab Bitcoin. Okay, so with Bitcoin, April 6th or 26th, sorry, right there, and price action is right there. So 6.5% or 6.4%. So you can see that Bitcoin is actually doing better than LTC, but Ethereum is doing better than Bitcoin. So if you want to hedge your bets properly, you want to sort of get into trades that will yield you more Bitcoin or yield you more fiat, you have to make these kinds of calculations and see, okay, when Bitcoin moves 1%, does LTC or whatever alt you're trading move less or more or equivalent? Okay, and this is how you have to manage your portfolio and diversify, guys. You have to find the coins on a day-to-day basis that show you strength, that they have the ability to move at a higher value than Bitcoin or some of the leading alts. So for example, Ethereum or Litecoin. But you also have to keep in mind that you may be playing a dangerous game, that you may be playing with low volume shitty alts, right? So if you go on Binance or whatever crypto exchange that you're on, that might be a little risky for you. Okay, so it might not be worth your time. So I actually love to trade on Coinbase because it has more liquidity, less volume sort of fuckery, as most would call it, and I like the fact that I don't have to deal with a lot of bots and algos, wash trading, and spoofing fake volume, which actually happens quite a bit, right? I remember last time I showed our community the article about fake volume, right? If we go down here, we have an education channel. I post a lot of stuff in here just for our community, and I talked about fake volume right here. Okay, where is it? It is right over here somewhere. I think it's in resources, actually. So it's right here, right? Mechanics of wash trading behind the scenes. It's a good read on fake volume. Bitwise did this, big analysis report on all these exchanges, wash trading and creating fake volume. And we actually had a newsletter written on that too. So we like to keep track of all the stuff that's happening in this space and how to avoid it best to be able to, put ourselves at an advantage to be better traders. Okay, because at the end of the day, guys, I mean, this is a game of money. Okay, if you want to make more money or more satoshis, whatever, you have to understand the space. You have to understand the players, how they play, what rules they break, what rules they follow or don't follow, right? So you have to play the game accordingly, if not better. And so this is what we teach in our community, right? So for example, I do not ever give out trades on exchanges with low volume or coins with really crappy volume, because it's not worth it. If I give out a trade that attracts 5 or 10 of my members, chances are we're going to pump that coin up like 1,000% in less than an hour, because it will not be able to handle the amount of volume that we bring to the order books. Okay, the amount of capital we bring to the order books. So it's not worth it, right? You try not to. A good rule of thumb is try not to trade anything below, say, 100 to 150 rank coins. Okay, majority of them are just shit coins, and also they're so easily manipulable that you don't want to deal with that, right? So if you want to sort of play the game of properly trading, you have to understand what exchanges have good volume, how to trade properly, and exactly how to read technical analysis. So this is something that we teach, like I said. So anyway, going back to Bitcoin, we're seeing a climb up to 4,134, and like I said, once we sort of get to 4,200, guys, I think it's going to be fairly easy to just break through this and hop back up into the $4,400 area. So this is gonna be a nice move, and I look forward to it over the next day or two. I think it's gonna happen fairly quickly because I think we've had some nice retests already of this sideways choppy range that we had around 3,900. So I expect Bitcoin to sort of keep on moving up and maybe move up to 4,400 from here. Maybe have a hard rejection, come back to this area right here, test it, and then keep on moving up. Okay. Like I stated, we are basically in the third wave of the Elliott wave count, and that means that the third wave needs to exceed the first wave, which is right around here, about 4,200. My expectation of the third wave is about $4,700 to $4,800. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that. At the present moment. So like I said, Ethereum is one of our trades. Litecoin is another one of our trades that we got in. I got in around 60.7. Currently, price is at 60.26, so we're slightly at a loss. But one thing I'm liking about Litecoin is the fact that it's moving sideways right near this critical resistance that we've had. That Litecoin has been really struggling to break through this $61, $62 area, as you can see, right? So if you want to sort of play this safe, what I would do is wait above this level, say high 61s or maybe low 62s, and buy above this level right here. Okay, so once you buy above this level, then you can sort of ride this train up, and I bet that could easily take the price to mid to high $70 range. Okay. So Litecoin is another one of our trades that we got in, and you could see all this stuff, guys, time-stamped in our community. Okay, I put out these calls every single day, right? I explain, my breakdown of our trades, the cash position I'm in. I added to my ETH, spot buy trade. So, I explain exactly where my capital is going, where the entry and exit points are. This is exactly what I'm doing. This is not financial advice. You can do whatever you want, but this is what I'm doing, and we make consistent gains. As you can see, if we start going back, we closed out some of these positions with some really healthy gains, and we do this on a weekly basis in our community. Anyone who's watching this video will tell you, we've been doing this for the entire bear market as best we can. Sometimes, of course, I'm not gonna lie, we have some losses here and there, but our losses are small, our winners are big. So that's the way you want to keep it. Okay. So one thing that I wanted to talk about, guys, is there's a legendary trader, and I actually put out his article right here in education, and you can go down and read this. Okay. His name is Marty Schwartz. Okay. And so he talks about how there are certain rules that we like to follow in the financial markets. Okay, first one is an object in motion will stay in motion, right? So what that really means is when there's a continuous trend, right, whether it's up or down, bullish or bearish, that trend is more than likely to continue. Okay, not rocket science, but it's hard for a lot of people to grasp, right? This is why you saw a lot of people trading this market all the way down from the highs, and they kept buying and buying and buying when the market was actually in a downward trend, right? So most people don't understand that market psychology and market dynamics is all about being able to understand the human psyche, if you will. Okay, and so it's kind of like a boulder, right? And once you sort of push a boulder, it's going to sort of accelerate and keep going down. It's really hard to change its direction unless it finds sort of a bottom area. Okay, and it could be very well said that this could be our bottom. Okay, and now that we're potentially starting a nice grind trend up. Okay, but this cannot be sort of validated until Bitcoin starts showing us some higher highs, meaning that it has to start crossing this $4,400 level and closing above it to show strength of higher highs, as per, once we drop down and capitulated in this, sort of bear market right here at the end of 2018. But it hasn't done that yet. So we cannot definitively say that, hey, we've changed trend and we're now in a bull market. If anything, this is, more neutral than bearish, which is, still a good sign, something fairly healthy that we haven't seen in many months, right? I mean, if you look back from beginning of 2018, we've had a huge drawdown, some big, sell-off candles right here, and now we're having, 7 or 8 straight weeks of up movement that we haven't seen, since 2017, right? So definitely a positive sign, but does it mean that we're starting the next bull run? Definitely not. Okay. So you can start, reading about these rules. I have this in my community. You can go check it out. The magic T indicator. Okay. So this is a second rule by Marty. And the way I read this is, markets basically spend an equal amount of time going up, and they spend the same amount of time going down. Okay, so for example, if we start looking at this chart right here, right, and we start measuring that from, when we start creating higher highs, so December, say January 2016, okay, this area right here. So we spent, one whole year, right, at January 2017, wherever that is right there, okay, so that's 1 year. And then the top was right around 2 years. Okay, so we spent 2 years in a bull market. That means we should more than likely spend 2 years in a bear market. Now remember, bear markets don't mean that it has to keep going down. It just means that we may slowly grind around this this area in accumulation mode and then start our movement back up. Okay, and that 2-year mark will be basically at the end of this year, right? So we're pretty much close to it. We got 7 or 8 more months to go. If we sort of keep grinding up in this area in the 4,000 and 5,000s, and maybe one big capitulation wick or candle in 1 week, sort of stop out these people who bought in right here and make them think that we're gonna pretty much go down to like 0, then that's pretty much the mark and the end of the bear market, and then we can just keep on going up to 8,000 and 10,000 and 20,000. Okay. All right, let's check out the other rules. Red light, green light. I mean, you guys can also read about these. Don't put stops below the low and above the high in the range. Okay. Very important rule. Again, check this out on your own. Understand the news. See how what players are wanting to move the price which way. What are the intentions behind these news outlets? Connect with your charts and your work ethic. Remember to be a disciplined trader, guys. Always methodically jot down everything that you do, and where you got into a trade, what kind of maybe even emotional state you were in. Why did you get into a trade? Did you make a mistake? Did you FOMO in? Whatever. Use a checklist and a trade plan, right? This is one of the most important things. You have to write down exactly where you want to get into a trade, why you want to get in, what technicals are you following, and what trade plan do you have? How much of your capital are you risking? How much do you want to risk in this trade, right? What kind of reward are you expecting? Always have a trade plan prepared. Okay. Before putting a position, really ask yourself, like, do you really want to be in this position? Do you really want to be, stuck in a market that's either moving sideways or down, or that has had a 14-month bear market and it may slowly be coming out? So yeah, all these rules, guys, come to our community and you can read these and we can follow up on them. Okay. Let's go back to something that happened 2 days ago, or actually yesterday, which was closing of the monthly, quarterly, and weekly. So here's the monthly closing right here. 2 consecutive monthly candles in a row. Something that we haven't seen since 2017. And another good thing is we had this sort of rounded bottom right here, right? We had 2 inverted hammer candles right here. Okay. These inverted hammer candles right here, if they are followed up by a bullish candle, more often than not, they start actually a new bullish trend. Okay, not saying that this is going to take us to new sky highs, but for the most part, it actually will start a slightly more progressed momentous move up. Okay, so it may end off right around the low 5,000s or mid 5,000s if the next candle is also bullish. Okay, and then the quarterly also closed too, so let's check that out. So here's how the quarterly looks, right? So from the bottom of 2015, when we had that big wick down to 163 or something, we've had some nice quarters through the 2017 bull market, but over the last couple of quarters, it's been pretty devastating for Bitcoin. And then finally, we closed off the Q1 of 2019 with a nice sort of I wouldn't really call this a hammer, but basically a small flat body candle. Okay, now we're looking for the next 3 months to show us nice bullish strength. If this thing can, over the next 3 months can get us to this area right here, which is about 5,900, 6,000, I bet that the following 2 quarters we will move sideways in this area, have maybe that capitulation candle like I spoke about, and then keep on moving up. Okay, so by the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I'm expecting a nice sort of healthier trend of a new potential bull market. All right, I know I'm talking a lot, so let me know if you guys have questions. I always try to do as much as I can for the community. I give out trades whenever I can. So please do come join, guys. We're a very active community, and I hope you guys come see the value. Okay. But aside from that, our final trade that our community got in today was BNB Tether, and we are actually currently in the trade. We got in around, I think we averaged in at 18.2, or actually 18.02, and then 17.9 and 17.8. So we're basically just moving sideways right now, and I expect Tether to sort of take me towards this previous high that it had way back here. Let me sort of map that out. It's this area right here. Okay, so this is something that Tether, or I'm sorry, BNB hit way back in January 2018, and I'm hoping to ride this current candle all the way up to that level right there. Okay. So, with BNB having so many, sort of ICOs and projects on their launchpad, and they had some new lottery system that they just put out in their news this morning, I expect BNB to perform really well. And so I think this winner right here will probably hit this marker in the next, less than 24 to 40, or well, not 24 to 48 hours, but at the very most in a week, I'm hoping that this target should be hit. So keep an eye on all these trades that we just gave out. Come join our community, guys. And, like I said, I try to do as much as I can for the free channel, but a majority of my time goes to my paid community. Like I stated, we have Bitcoin analysis. I put up video analysis every single day for my communities. It's 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. It's like your morning crypto coffee, if you will. And then I provide multiple updates through the day. And we have a user requests TA section. So if you guys have any questions on technical analysis, you want me to check out a coin where you want to get in or get out, maybe I provide analysis on the spot. Okay. Then we have a margin trading channel, discussion of fundamentals only. We also have an awesome newsletter, that my wife writes every single day. We write this every single day just to give our community, an understanding of what's happening in the space. Because remember, price always is ahead of fundamentals, meaning that, whether the fundamentals are really good, price at some point will be lagging, and then it will overshoot the fundamentals like it did in 2017 and drastically overvalue the fundamentals. And then, right now, fundamentals, obviously, crypto as a whole, was not worth at 3,000, or Bitcoin was not worth at 3,000 because the fundamentals were changing. Fidelity was getting in, Bakkt is getting in. More of the institutional investors are actually, have crypto asset class on their radar. So it was very undervalued, I would say. Okay, at least, you know, some of the space was. And so now you're seeing, you know, that slight, you know, movement of price coming to equilibrium to meet the fundamentals, and probably over the next year or two, price is going to overshoot the fundamentals. And again, we're going to be in sort of that bubble-like phase where, you know, price is going to be really far extended, and then price is going to come back down again. So if you want to understand how in the next bull run you can make money and keep it, and not just have it, you know, be you know, unrealized gains, you know, come join our community, and we can discuss that. All right. I also provide one-on-one consultations, guys. If you have, you know, direct questions about your portfolio, how to trade, where to trade, etc., you know, you can come sign up here and pay me for an hour. Finally, I want to talk about Bitcoin options. Okay, so if you're not familiar with you know, options trading or futures trading, you know, come to our channel and I'll explain it. But for now, let me just go through it basically. Okay, so you have multiple options dates. Remember, you can buy out these options as you know, potential long or short positions, or calls, or puts, as we call it in the options world. And you get to have a variety of price targets called strike prices. Okay, and you get to sort of gamble, if you will, and try to figure out, you know, what kind of price action or price point will Bitcoin reach on the 5th of April 2019 options contract. Okay, so I actually had a contract of 4,125. And you know, I'm currently up. So I have two accounts. One of them is my main one. This one I just wanted to show you guys because I wanted to show y'all exactly, you know, how options contracts work. So I have a very small amount in this account, and I wanted to show you guys, you know, some ROI that I have. Now, I'm not afraid to show you, you know, the average entry, my size, you know, very small, right? But my main account is the one I have, you know, bigger size and bigger options, and a perpetual swap too. But here I wanted to explain to you, you know, why exactly I got into this options position, how it's playing out, and how to close it out. Okay, so options contracts do not have to be waiting till the 5th of April. You can essentially get out of this position even beforehand. So I got in about 2 or 3 days ago, around 40.70, I want to say. So I've got a healthy, you know, ROI right now. And I can close out this contract today itself. Okay, but here are some other contracts with different strike prices, right? So you can see the higher the price for the April 7th, or I'm sorry, April 5th, you know, the less volume there's that's there, and you know, the less on the buy side. Okay, so for example, the closer you are to current price action, say 41.25, you can see more open interest, meaning that there's a lot of people who want to get into, say, 42.50 or 43.75, right? The open interest means all the people who are interested and they're on the order books waiting to be filled for the April 5th, 2019 options. Okay, so these people are actually waiting, and they're hoping that, you know, price can actually get to 42.50 or 43.75 on the April 5th, 2019 calls. Okay, now puts, you can obviously see that the puts are obviously going to be on the lower side. Okay, you want, because when you're when you quote unquote put, that means that you are hoping that the price actually goes down, and you're willing to sell the option. So when you sell it, you're hoping that, you know, price will go down to 37.50, and this is where people are actually heavily weighing their volume at 37.50 for April 5th, you know, strike price. Okay, I'm actually leaning more towards the bullish side, and so I'm actually going to close out this position in a day or two when I start, you know, gaining enough ROI, and close out my option. Okay, so if you again want to learn how to trade options, you know, come join our community, guys. All right, that's all I got, folks. I gave you guys multiple trades: BNB, Ethereum, Litecoin, and now just wrapping up the analysis with BTC, and we'll call it a day. So yeah, Nothing much on BTC. I think it's gonna keep climbing. I really wanted to hit 4,150 because I think that's a big psychological level that people are waiting for. Maybe even 4,200. And once we start, cracking that on the daily chart, then I think we have essentially surpassed the big sort of resistance in this 4,000 to 4,200 supply zone. All right. That's all I got, folks. I hope you guys come join our community. I hope you come learn about options trading, and you come, take some of our trades that we make some awesome gains on. And I'll see y'all soon. All right. Come join, and take care and have a good evening. All right. Cheers.